to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up, and throughout the world today.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hi, y'all. It's cold in L.A. What the? That cold wind coming from Canada. I remember when I lived down in Alabama, and it would get cold up north, Chicago, and those places. And then the wind would blow down south. It would be so cold, and we would say, "It's cold. That wind coming from up north." This reminds me of that. Anyway, you can get involved by calling 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. My biblical question for this week is a doozy. Do you have confidence? Do you have confidence? Confidence. It's an amazing question. A lot of people responded, and I'm responding. And I'm glad because I want you to encourage you to pay attention to you. And I realize most people are not because they love their hell. And the last thing they want is to be free from their hell. I understand it. We have every way to watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad if you're like busy and can't sit and watch it. And you can also podcast it later, but you can listen to it doing whatever it is that you're doing. And by calling the listen line, right, on your iPhone or iPad, 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. That's on TalkStream Live. And follow us. Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram and JLP Talk on X. JLP Talk on X. All right? Amazing. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. It's Thursday. And for those who are new to the show and might not be aware, but Thursday we deal with all calls, but we focus a little bit more on Bible thumpers. Bible thumper! Because I've noticed that it's really difficult to have a long conversation with a Bible thumper because all they do is just, they're so intellectual and they have the Bible in their mind. They have the Bible in their mind, words, intellectual words, and Satan just pop out words, so they don't even hear the conversation. So we decided to set aside Thursdays for Bible Thumper Thursday, though we take all calls, right? but Thursday is Bible Thumper Thursday.
Bible Thumper!
The sign outside the New Era Baptist Church in Birmingham reads, "A black vote for Trump is mental illness."
I am the daughter of 2 pastors.
You will emerge from that as an atheist.
President Joe Biden is only the 2nd Catholic president.
The Pope is like, if you don't... They call him the Holy Father. Ain't nothing holy about the Pope.
God, why? Why George, God?
Holy mackerel. I can't believe you people follow a man. What a mess. What a mess. So, Bible Thumper Thursday, we take all calls, but Bible Thumper Thursday for sure. Last night, there was a town hall meeting. Apparently, they've been doing this, I guess, the last few nights with the Republican candidates running for president. And they did Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is a mess. She is a mess. Nikki Haley could not find a way out of a paper bag if she had to. But anyway, they did her and that little guy from Florida. And I didn't watch Nikki Haley or the little guy from Florida. And according to the news report, Chris Christie dropped out. And it sounds like he committed to try to make sure Donald Trump is not elected. I've never seen, but I have seen one man that hates another man so much. Chris Christie appears to really hate Donald Trump. It is crazy. What did Donald Trump do to him? When he was doing his little campaigning, running for president, it was all about Donald Trump. He was acting like a wounded wife. He hated Donald Trump. But anyway, last night they did a town hall with the Great White Hope, Donald Trump. And so I watched it. And I haven't watched those town halls and those stuff they be doing in a while because my mind is already made up in that I'm voting for Donald Trump, right? But so I watched the Great White Hope debate town hall last night. And I have to tell you, it was old school, it was logical, it was about love, it was simple, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. And it was old school. It was the type of representatives we had when America was America, when it was amazing. And he talked about bringing back jobs and getting all the restrictions and send the borders down and all kinds of stuff. That just made sense. And one thing that was really interesting about the Great White Hope, one of the females in the audience asked, well, when you get back in office, if you get back, are you going to try to put people in jail? Are you going to do this and do that? Go after people? He's like, no. I'm not going after anyone. I'm going to make America great again. I'm going to get the job done. And I thought that was so deep because I've noticed that in our country today. And I remember when the first time around, the president was telling Crooked Hillary that he was going to lock her up. And he didn't lock her up when he became president. And some of the people who were supporting him got mad at him because he didn't lock her up. But what I realized about the Great White Hope last night is that he understands not to be a revengeful man. Revenge is evil. And when you are a revengeful person, you are destroying yourself. He appears to understand that when people are trying to go after other people to hurt them or get revenge, they end up really destroying themselves. And if you pay attention, not revenge, but vengeful person, not revenge, but vengeful person. And Trump is not that way because he understands that if you are a vengeful person, you will destroy yourself. Because in the Bible it says, vengeful or venge is of God. He'll take care of that. Don't you worry about that. And Trump like, no, I'm gonna get the job done. And I was glad to hear that question asked and the way he responded, because the media and his enemies are trying to say, well, he's just going to go after everybody. That's all going to be happening when he get back in, and just he's not going to get anything done. I even had a family member tell me that the other day. Well, when Trump get in, he's just going to be going after and locking people up. He doesn't have to do that. A vengeful person is already locked up. They're in hell. And I noticed that the people who have been going after the Great White Hope, have you noticed that they end up destroying themselves? There was this, according to a report, this black DA woman, whatever she is down there in Georgia, she's going after the Great White Hope down there. And it's being reported now that she hired her boyfriend, who doesn't even know what he's doing. He's never did these type of cases before. And she's paying him buku money, taxpayer money, and taking trips and all that kind of stuff. And now this is backfiring on her. What a mess. And Trump is just not in there. When you have love, real love, not mama love, not emotional love, you operate in a different way. You operate in the light. You operate with wisdom and patience and love. And Donald Trump has that. It was amazing. I watched the whole hour. I thought, let me watch him for a few minutes, right? And I ended up watching the whole hour. It's funny too, in that the man and the woman that was hosting this event from Fox there, Donald Trump went off on them about Fox. Well, we'll see, he said. He's like, well, we'll see what the question is like because Fox did something, he said. And vengeance is mine, said the Lord. I will encourage you to do what you want. And Christ said it a long time ago. Christ said it a long time ago that most people are not going to make it. They're not going to make it into the kingdom. And it's so true because, first of all, most people don't know what it means to enter into the kingdom. They don't know what it means. And most of all, they don't want to die. They think they're going to enter into the kingdom without dying, of the ego, of the intellect, of the mind. And the intellect is the enemy of God. It's the enemy of God. And it's the ego that must die. Most people are not going to do that. They're too attached to it. They think it's them. And they love the intellect. They love the ego. And they feed into that. I was thinking about the Christians, and not all, but most. I guess maybe all, but one or two, not. They're so intellectual. They're so intellectual, and they use certain words to make themselves think that they're spiritual and that they are of God and blah, blah, blah. And yet, inwardly, they're miserable. And they won't even question, why am I miserable? If I'm bored of God, and if I'm this, why am I unhappy? Why do I have fear? And then in their intellect, they believe all the wrong things about God. They just believe about it, but they don't know it, right? They believe that and I mentioned this before, and I keep hearing it. That's why I'm bringing it up again. The Christians believe they truly believe they have a free will. You don't have a free will. They truly believe that Jesus is God. And they feel good because they say, oh, the deity. The deity. And then they believe in a thing called the Trinity. The Trinity not even in the Bible, but somebody told them there was a Trinity, and they hooked onto that intellectually. And yet they're miserable. They have fear. They have doubt. They have worry. And not realizing they're just intellectually believing about God. And they don't know him. And they won't even bother to it, not all, but most. And there are some now who are hearing the truth about it, and they are starting to examine themselves. But they won't look to see, well, what is wrong with me if I do believe in God? And then the Christians will say real fast, they're going to heaven. And when another Christian die, they get up and lie and say that person's in heaven. They don't even know. They are the same as the secular intellectual people. It's the same. I want to know how many of you men and women out there today or anytime believe me when I tell you that women were not created to lead. They were created to follow. And I got proof. I remember a time when boys were boys and men were men. And it was known by men and women that women were not created to lead. It's just not in their nature. It's in their nature to follow. But this idea of women becoming leaders and that they were created to lead, it was more of a secular idea before. And normal people knew, men and women knew, that women were not created to lead. I can remember as when I was younger and women would go to work and they would hear they would be working for other women, they hated it. And like, I don't want to work for no woman. She ain't got no sense. She ain't got no patience. They hated it. And then in the churches, it was forbidden that women would lead in a church. But now, because the men are so weak, it's prevalent in the churches now. The men have turned the churches over to the women. And not that the woman took it, the man gave it to her because he's weak. There's this guy by the name of Rick Warren. And according to PastorRick.com, Richard Warren is an American Christian pastor and author. He is the founder of Saddleback Church, an evangelical Baptist megachurch in Lake Forest, California. He wrote some book called Searching Your Purpose or something. Finding Your Purpose, something like that. Living Your Purpose. Or Purpose, Dream, or something dumb. Purpose-Driven Life. Thank you, Hake. He wrote a book called Purpose-Driven Life. That's amazing to me. And I guess at one point, Rick Warren did not believe, and he knew that women were not created to lead, but to follow. And it seemed at one point he would not allow them to lead in his church. But something happened where he seemed to have a change of mind now, or a change of heart about that. According to Rick Warren's X account, he loves strugglers, skeptics, seekers, and critics, and taught 1.1 million pastors in 1.1 million pastors in 164 nations. Here's Rick Warren talking about all this mess. This is from Woke Preachers Clips. Watch this.
I understand why people get upset about this because I believed the way they did until 3 years ago. And I actually had to change because of Scripture. Culture could not change me on this issue. What changed me was when I came to confrontation with 4 scriptures nobody ever talked about that I felt had strong implications about women in ministry. Who authorized women to teach? Jesus. All authority is given to me, therefore teach. All authority is given to me, therefore baptize. You got a problem with the Great Commission. I had to repent when I actually looked at the Great Commission. I had to say, it's not just for ordained men. We know women were filled with the Holy Spirit. We know that women were preaching in languages that other people couldn't hear to a mixed audience. We know women, it wasn't just men. Women were preaching on the day of Pentecost. In the church, everybody gets to play. Everybody gets to preach. Everybody gets to prophesy. It's a whole new world, baby.
Amazing. You're right. They playing in the churches. Everybody gets to play now. Now do you believe me when I tell you that my country is not coming back? Rick Warren is a beta. Beta! Beta, man! He lost his way. Can you imagine, according to this report, he taught 1.1 million quote-unquote pastors in 164 nations. They're lost if they listen to Rick Warren. A post from Rick Warren X account from June 10th, 2023, which has 2.2 million views. Here's a post from that X photo.
It says, "My apology to Christian women. My biggest regret in 53 years of ministry is that I didn't do my own personal exegesis sooner on the 4 passages used to restrict women. Shame on me." And he goes on and on and on.
Poor Rick. Is his wife? Did his wife get to him? Is he married?
I believe so.
Did his wife get to him? What happened? What happened that he knew the truth, but he let that go and went for the lie? And so many churches are falling for this now. There are even men sitting under women in churches, and the woman is the pastor of the church. And men go and sit under the woman, knowing that every time they listen to the woman, they suffer. According to Wicked Peterson, Kay Warren is an American author, international speaker, Bible teacher, and mental health advocate. Is that his wife? Well, no wonder he had a change of mind. He's been married since 1975. He got a wife into all that. He can't deal with her. Men, those who decide to get married for whatever reason, do not marry an educated woman. She's not going to make for a good wife. I don't care if she's a secular education or a Bible education. She's not going to make for a good wife. Rick Warren probably can't. Can you imagine, if this is true, being married to a woman, American author, international speaker, a Bible teacher, and mental health advocate? No wonder he had a change of heart all of a sudden. Women, you were not created to lead. This is from Regent Education. Timothy 2 is a position of the Apostle Paul letter to Timothy. It's a portion, Timothy 2 is a portion of Apostle Paul's letter to Timothy. Paul describes how God assigns different roles to men and women as a result of the way mankind was created and the way in which sin entered the world. That's from our Regent Education. 1 Timothy 2. It's in the Word. This is from 1 Timothy 2. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. For Adam was formed first. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not the one deceived. Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. That's deep. For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. That's deep and true. And you're putting these women, because they're not taking it, you're giving it over to them. You're putting them in charge of the family, the schools, companies, corporations, businesses, and now the government. You ain't seen hell yet. You think you caught hell in the house with your mama? And you did. You wait until these women that you're allowed to lead are done. Get ready. Put on your sword, or armor. It's going to be hell on earth. It's already hell. You ain't seen it yet. You're letting these women take over. If you love these women, you will not let them take over. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment.
Oh, hell, Donald Trump. I don't care what nobody say.
You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. and you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality. Amazing. What a mess. A spiritual battle like never before. But I understand it's always been a spiritual battle. And nothing new is happening. Nothing new under the sun. (888-775-3773). I want to mention just this soundbite, and then I get to your phone calls. I'm warning you. In the same way, for the 30-something years, I warned white Americans that y'all need to speak up. You're not responsible for the failure of black people. Black people are responsible for their own failure. Each adult individual have decided not to take care of themselves, but to blame others. And they use the word racism and slavery. They made up stuff. It's just a made up stuff to control you. And the whites did not do anything. They didn't speak up. They didn't say no. They went along with it. And now it's a mess. And it's going to get worse for white Americans. And I know some whites are building bunkers underground, but you can't hide. You can't hide. You can't hide from evil. Evil is inside of you, and wherever you go, you're going to have fear. You can't hide. Fear is here. You're going to have fear. Well, here's another loud warning. You think you caught hell from your mother or grandmother while growing up, and you did. You haven't seen hell yet. You're putting these females in charge. It's not the order. There is a natural order. I was telling we have Female Monday now. We do Female Monday. And I was saying to the ladies, as I did in the fellowship, don't look for nothing but God. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all will be added. There's an order. There's a number one thing you got to do first, and a number 2, and 3, and 4, and one thing leads to another. How are you going to have a real life if you refuse to follow the order? And the last thing most human beings want to do is follow order. There's an order. Seek first the kingdom. Now, the intellect throws you off and it tells you to see other things. It tells you, oh, get married, have children, get a great job, make a lot of money, build a career. You need a career. That's a big lie. But the Spirit tell you, return to the Father. You must be born again. Return to the Father. Seek first the kingdom of God in His right way. And all will be added. You'll be fine. Ladies, don't be looking for a husband or anything. It's natural to want to get married, though, but not to be putting that first in your life. It should be way down your list. They had all-female government in Gary, Indiana at one point, black female. I don't know if they still have it. Gary, Indiana is hell and damnation. My country is becoming that way now. The Old Testament is being played out in my country today. Why don't you live in the New Testament within? The kingdom of heaven is within. And you'll be in this world, but not of it, and you won't have to worry. You have no fear, no doubt, none of that mess. I want to show you another crucial and dangerous idea. If I were you, do it tomorrow. Well, I don't suggest that. Do it tomorrow. You know, we talked about Paul out of 1 Timothy 2. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. I can't tell you the number of men I counsel with, and they have the woman over them, and they are catching hell. And they didn't understand it until they heard me say about the order of God, God and Christ, Christ and man, man over woman and woman over children. Whenever you listen to the woman, you suffers. Well, you're not. This is amazing to me. What I'm about to show you from the New York Times. You may need some pot to deal with this one. I don't recommend pot, but you may need it if you already have anger and fear. An all-female city council marks a turning point. For the first time in St. Paul, Minnesota, all 7 city council members are women. They're females. All 7 members. All 7 city council members are female. They said woman. They also make up the youngest and most racially diverse council in the city's history. I first heard about this story on the Anchor Baby show yesterday. And the Anchor Baby said he heard it from the Hate News. Yeah, the Hate News. Was it the Hate News or the Hate Report?
The Hake Report.
The Hate Report. Amazing, huh? Watch this from CBS and WRAL.
Actually, no.
What?
I didn't cover this one.
Oh, you did not?
I covered Rick Warren.
Oh, you covered. Oh, the Anchor Baby heard Rick Warren's story from you.
Yeah, Anchor Baby covered this one.
And the Anchor Babies covered the St. Paul, and that didn't come from Hake. Watch this.
The St. Paul City Council is now made up entirely of women.
And majority women of color.
We're here because our work at City Hall is not only to ensure amazing city services. This historic council was sent to do historic work, to play our part in rectifying the past wrongs that still impact our community.
The incoming council president you heard from just there thanked the voters of St. Paul for taking this historic step.
The significance cannot be overstated and how important this moment is for the city and for the country. It's hopefully a bellwether for the future.
There are certain lived experiences, being a woman that has often not been set forth when it comes to policy making, and also when it comes forward to who we ask to be part of the table of decision making.
I hope this isn't the last time that we have an all-women council, predominantly women of color council, because I want women to lead. I want women to be able to take their seat.
As Johnson called it, making herstory.
Making herstory. Wow. and they want women of color. What kind of message is that for white women? White people, you ain't seen trouble yet. They say out loud they're going to go after you. We want women of color. Do you think that had that been all white women, city council, that the white woman can say, I'm very happy about this, as long as it's a woman of whiteness, white women. White people are allowing themselves. Your enemy is telling you they hate you, and they blame you for everything. And you're like, oh, okay. No protest, no nothing about that. Get ready, America. You think it's bad in South Africa, and it is. Just wait. This is a spiritual battle. And evil come through the woman. Satan is the woman's God until she's born again of the Father. And the gates of hell come through her. I suggest you put first things first, because human beings are evil. Human beings want revenge. They want vengeance. And they try to hurt you because they're miserable. They have no love. And you're letting these women, so-called women of color, take over your country like this? You ain't seen vengeance yet. I'm warning you. I would encourage you to get over anger so you can get over fear and you can be guided by the light within. You must die from the ego nature. This is horrible what's happening in St. Paul. It's horrible what's happening in my country. Amazing. 888-7753-773 Bible Thumper Thursday. Let me go to Drew. Drew, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jesse.
Hey, Drew.
That was an amazing monologue, and it was full of all sorts of different topics, but I didn't call to talk about those topics. You briefly touched on the New Testament and what it means to live from the New Testament. So I wanted to share with you a Bible verse, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, so from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16, it says, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day." So what do you see in that Bible verse?
That the outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed?
It's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yes. And what does that mean to you?
Well, what I see in that is the outward man, which is the flesh that people see, the pursuing of the world, that perishes. But the inward man, that's the spirit that God gives us, is renewed every single day we wake up in the morning. We have the breath of life, and we're able to live a real life if we live from that spirit.
When you say the outward man, you say what about that?
I said that it's the worldly, the fleshly, sinful kind of nature. That's the outward man.
The worldly. So you're saying that the flesh of man is sinful?
Yes.
So you believe your body is sinful?
Not the body, but the desires of the flesh.
And what does that mean? The flesh desires something?
Yes, so the temptations that come to you and, for example, make you want to eat more than you need to eat, or make you want to go and make some sluts, or whatever it is, those are the outward things because you're trying to find peace outside of yourself. But the inward man, which is the spirit, that's renewed day by day, and it never perishes.
I'm trying to understand you. When he's talking about the outward man, he's not talking about the physical person, the body itself, because the body is just a body, and the body does not sin.
Right.
So what do you mean by the outward man then?
Well, if you read earlier in that book, it talks about the lust of the flesh, the lust of the world. And so it's part of that. That's the outward man. It's the outward man, meaning the person who tries to seek peace outside of himself. He's looking to the world to try to get something from it, as opposed from living from the kingdom of God within, because that's the inward man who lives from the kingdom of God within.
When he says that, therefore we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. He's talking about the intellect. He's talking about the ego. He's not talking about the physical person. He's talking about the ego and the intellect, because the intellect, the ego, is the enemy of God. It hates God. And most people, and all people until they are born and return to the Father, they live by the ego, thinking that it is God because the ego presents itself as God. And the ego tempts you to obey it. It says eat, you go eat, overeat, because you have conflict. Anyone that believes in the intellect has conflict, is separated from God. So you got to die from and the imagination tempt you, thoughts always tempting you, and you resist temptation by resisting thoughts. And that's the part that needs to die, not you, not the physical person. It's not the body that's doing it. It's the intellect of the mind that's causing you to do wrong.
Amazing. So I also had another question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I watched The Fallen State with Ryan Cohen, and I learned so much from that, and I wanted to know, in that interview, did you learn anything else about, let's say, Ryan Cohen's idea of Judaism that you weren't originally aware of?
Ryan Cohen, for those who don't know, he is a Jew. Joseph. It wasn't Ryan Cohen, it was Joseph Cohen.
Oh, it was Joseph Cohen?
Yeah. He's a Jew from the UK, and he's over there fighting against something. And then I learned something from him. That's an interesting question, Drew. If I did, I don't remember what I learned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just one in, out the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I enjoyed talking to him, and the conversation was very interesting. I really enjoyed that. But what I do realize about the Jews, just as it is with all people, the Jews have to forgive and return to the Father as well. And if not, they're going to live from the intellect. They're going to have this. They are having the same conflict that everyone has, that has not been born again of the Father.
Nice. So they need the inward man too.
I'm sorry?
I said, so they need the inward man too, not the outward man.
But I don't know quite what you mean by the inward man, but they need the kingdom of heaven. They need to live by the Spirit from within.
Got it. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you, Drew.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. Amazing. 888-773-7773. Let me go to, there's a line open. Let me go to Danny from Bulgaria. Danny, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good day, Mr. Peterson. Hope you're doing well, sir.
All is well, Danny. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir. All the best for 2024.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
Mr. Peterson, I'm calling because I just wanted to share a few things about Russia and communism and socialism. Ms. Peterson, keep in mind that those people, that freedom you were talking about, they have never had it. Ever since the beginning of this country, they were either under imperial rule, and literally under imperial rule, people are property of the royal family. That's how it's been viewed there. And after the revolution, after communism went there, things got even worse because they didn't even need the property anymore. They in general, socialism and communism is basically a cancer for society. And I know what I'm talking about because although I was born a little bit after the Soviet Union collapsed, I'm basically the first person from my generation, the first generation that is allowed to own multiple properties. I don't want to, sound rude or bad, but I have a nice job. I was able to buy property ever since I was 25. I bought my first thing when I was 25. I'm 33 now, so things are going well. But this was not going to be possible if I was born under a communistic rule. Back then, things were so bad, it was allowed one apartment per family, not per person, per family. And they were stuck with their mama and their grandmama. So, and it was imposed by the government to be like that. Those people...
No, those people what?
Say again, sir?
Those people what? Go ahead.
Those people can never understand it because they have never seen that thing in action. I understand they may say, well, I've been here and there and I've seen this and that. I've seen the moon doesn't mean I've been there. So it doesn't work like that.
I got a call yesterday from a guy from Russia, and he was talking about communism, socialism, and capitalism. And he said, if I understood it right, I couldn't understand it real clear, but if I understood, he said that the people love communism over there, that it works, they love it. And I realized later that the reason that he loved it is because that's all he know. And if he were able to get out of communism, you put him into a capitalist society, he would not accept it. He would create a communist society because he loves it and that's what he's into. And that's why he thinks it's good because that's all they know.
This thing communism and socialism, in its essence, cripples the soul.
Yeah.
Because we are not meant to be like that. We're meant to work with. I've never read the Bible. Even I know that Adam and Eve were working in the garden. God didn't have some welfare program for that. They were working over there. So in general, people were designed like that.
Amazing.
Once Sean gave that boiling frog thing, it's like that. So I understand you may be busy, Mr. Peterson. Kind regards to your viewers and your colleagues, and God be with you, sir.
You too, Denny. Thank you so much. I got to take a break. 2 more hours to go. When I come back, straight to the calls, 888-775-3773. The hate news, not the fake news, but the hate news. The guy with the good hair. And I'll be back in a moment. 2 more hours to go. Baba Thumper! Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 1 already of Bible Thumper Thursday, January 11th, AD 2023. Stay tuned for hour 2. JLP will be right back to your calls. There is one line open. You can call in right now during Hake News, not fake news. The economy is great. Not Commie Nonsense Network. CNN reports prices are falling for TVs, cars, gasoline, as the U.S. economy continues to defy recession predictions. Still, many consumers remain concerned about inflation, even though the typical middle-class American household has more wealth, higher earnings, and more purchasing power than before the scam-demic. So says unchristian Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She said that on Wednesday. Is it already a recession or no? Republicans, the two Republicans vying to become the top alternative, top of the dung pile, as an alternative to our greatest president, Donald J. Trump. In the 2024 GOP presidential primary, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, they sparred during CNN's debate Wednesday night yesterday. In their first one-on-one matchup, they gave their final pitch to Iowa voters just days before the state's pivotal caucuses. Both candidates sought to appear toughest on some bedrock conservative priorities, ending illegal immigration, like that's going to happen, cutting taxes and reining in the federal budget. They traded jabs over what role the U.S. should play in Ukraine's war with Russia. And Nikki Haley argued for robust aid to Ukraine. DeSantis called her policy a carbon copy of so-called President Joe Biden's, Crooked Joe. Trump skipped the event, of course. Hours prior, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie announced he was suspending his 2024 presidential campaign. Maybe Trump can like him again. Nice. Sit this one out, South Africa. That's what John Fetterman said, I think. CNN reports South Africa has begun their genocide case against Israel in the International Court of Justice. What kind of court is that? Hokey court. The country wants the court to order Israel to suspend their military campaign in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel, which will defend itself in court on Friday, I guess, has reacted furiously to the case, calling it an absurd blood libel. Whoa. Israel has said that they will argue they're acting in self-defense and they are doing their utmost to protect civilians in Gaza. I bet they are. U.S. backs Israel's position, of course, lame-o U.S., with a joke of a Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, calling the case meritless and a distraction from efforts to address the humanitarian crisis and prevent the war from spreading. It could take weeks before judges issue a decision. Who's going to bring a court case against South Africa on white genocide, huh? Meanwhile, in America, Tahoe avalanche. Not the car. CNN reports an avalanche at a Lake Tahoe area resort in California killed one person and injured another Wednesday morning. The avalanche occurred at the Palisades Tahoe ski resort, quickly prompted a search and rescue effort by multiple teams for potential victims. 66-year-old skier died. The person who was injured were resort guests, according to Michael Gross, the president of mountain operations in Tahoe, Palisades Tahoe. The avalanche occurred in an area that had just opened in the morning and had undergone rigorous avalanche control assessments. Apparently not rigorous enough, for several days by teams who also evaluated weather conditions and safety measures. So said that guy, Michael Gross. What a mess. Questions are swirling around athletes competing at Paris 2024. Hundreds of Ukrainian athletes, according to Commie Nonsense Network, are urging the French President Emmanuel Macron to exclude Russian and Belarusian athletes from participating in the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. Can't take the competition. I thought this was to promote peace on Earth, and now they don't want to make peace and make nice with the Russians. What a mess. Emmanuel Macron might just do it because he appointed a gay prime minister in his country. Poor France. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 2.
Stand up strong. the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Good morning. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. I was reflecting during the break. Can you imagine that in St. Paul, Minnesota, they have an all-female city council? A female of color. Oh, my. If you're not shaking in your boots from that, I don't know what it's going to take. What a mess. You can get involved by calling 888-7753, 773-888-77-JESSE. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And you can also, if you're out and about, busy, and just can't sit and listen to the show, you can podcast the show, but you can also listen to it on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 641-793-1500, 641-793-1500. You can podcast the show later. And follow us on rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. You got to know how to rumble.com and rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson and cozy.tv/JLP. cozy.tv/JLP. Like, follow, do all those things. And to donate, have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or Bond JLP on Cash App, Bond JLP on Cash App, or rebuildingtheman.com/store, rebuildingtheman.com/store. It's Thursday. It's the second hour of Thursday show. It is Bible Thumper Thursday.
Bible Thumper. I know I'm supposed to go to my seat now, but my mama's a 10-year cancer survivor, and she's standing right there. Wave your hand, mama. 34 treatments of radiation. You can't tell me what God wants.
Somebody beside you don't understand your praise, but I want you to grab somebody around you that don't mind dancing, and I want you to hit the floor right now.
There you go.
What does the Lord have to say in 2024 when we see a qualified, brilliant black woman, Dr. Claudine Gay?
Women at the top of their game and the top of their fields are treated as if they are not the superstars that they are.
You can try to say it's any other thing, but this is a continued onslaught against diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Wow. See that? Y'all don't want black people in charge of your world, your country, your world, your community, your neighborhood. Look at that. The Anchor Baby put that together. That's the first time I've seen that. Thank you. That's deep, Anchor Baby. I told you, they have given over the churches to the devil. I don't know. Whatever. Let me go 888-7753-773. Let me take some calls. There's one line open you want to jump in there. Victoria out of Texas. Happy New Year, Victoria.
Happy New Year, my brother. How are you?
All is well. Thank you for calling.
You're welcome. All is well here in Texas.
Amazing.
I wanted to say something, Jesse. putting women anywhere in so-called charge
Yes.
of this country or anywhere is absolutely giving it up to the devil, like you said.
It's mind blowing.
Well, that's that spiritual battle, you know.
Yeah.
He used the woman in the beginning, and here she is. But, you know, it's the weak men that's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weak men. But I wanted to give a warning because, you know, I've told you before, I think last year, that we have members here on our ranch that work for the airlines, and I also have family 30 years in the airlines. And what you've been seeing is the addition to diversity, equity, and so they call inclusion, right, of hiring these females of color, specifically blacks, but there's other women thrown in there as well. Now, years ago, the airlines solely hired males, especially right out of the military.
Yeah.
Because they had so many hours of combat, you know, heavy. It's heavy. That's a heavy position to be in. And you have to stay calm during those situations. You can't have people in the cockpit that are, you know, that are just out of their minds and they can't handle stress and pressure. And what's been going on with the airlines, and I hope that you start driving if you have to travel anywhere, bro, because this is bad. This is it's bad. They're hiring. It all started, from what I understand and have been told by pilots and such, that during the lockdown, a lot of the pilots and mechanics and the other people flight attendants even, but especially mechanics and pilots that rejected the Fauci sauce, right? Well, they were kicked off out of the airlines. And so they've been hiring these DEI employees. And the women, mostly all black women, and they're saying that they're very emotional. You know, they're not quite sure if they can handle it, but the agenda is to get them in there. And so the two schools that they send them to, there's one in Delaware, and I don't remember what the other university is, but it's at the two bottom universities in the nation as far as learning and GPAs and stuff. That's where they're sending them to. So that's not a good sign. And, you know, their standards are lowered. And it's what happened with this Spirit Airlines is that even the mechanics that they're hiring black females as well. But nobody's being told that, right? But they are. And these tools that these mechanics need in order to keep our planes in good structure, the tools are very specific, and they have to be calibrated to perfection, right? You have to calibrate them after, you know, when you're done working, you have to calibrate, put them in your toolbox so that, you know, when you come to work, you recheck them again, you know, and they're locked up. But these people that they're hiring, because of the boomers that are retiring as well, white male boomers, they're retiring because they see all of this.
I'm looking at a report right now from the New York Times. The end of all white male, all white cockpit. Airlines are struggling to find enough pilots and to diversify a profession that has been very resistant to change. When I first heard that they were hiring these blacks, affirmative action, unprepared blacks for air traffic controllers and and pilots and things like that, I knew, I said then, way back then, that this is going to be trouble. And it's getting bad. And I can't believe that they are putting these people in there and putting all our lives at risk when we fly. They're putting people's lives at risk just to prove that they're not racist. And they're not, these people are not qualified. I mean, they're putting them in the airplanes. It doesn't get any worse than that.
It doesn't, and it is putting everybody's lives at jeopardy.
I'm real concerned about flying now. I'm very, to a point I almost don't want to fly because I know what the blacks will do. They're not going to be careful in putting these planes together. They're not going to be careful in flying and what they're doing. It's not in them to do it. They're going to have do it. It ain't going to work. And
it's
yet they're imposing that upon us.
It is. And, it's a spiritual battle, and you can't have these positions and have your mind wandering and thinking in the intellectual mind instead of just being natural and just doing your job perfectly. And you can do that when you overcome evil. So you've got all these women, especially women. Jesse, can you, Satan's daughters are flying our airplanes?
I know. It's hell.
And I think it's funny. It's really interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I think it's really interesting that one of the people that United Airlines and Spirit and American and most of the domestic, I don't know about, I should ask about the international, but I'm sure there's some thrown in there. But these, I lost my, they have this, it's called Sisters of the Sky, that these airlines, Sisters of the Sky. You know what it's SOS. It's warning us, Sisters of the Sky. I mean, come on, this is insane. I have said after listening to these people that I know that I am not flying anywhere. No how, no way. I will drive.
Hardly a day goes by now when you don't hear of near miss.
All the time.
Planes. Hardly a day go by now when you don't hear something nagging going on with the planes. And yet they put these unqualified people in. They took out the white qualified men who had served in the military. They already knew how to fly. They had it down pat. And they put in people who are can't even read to run the aircraft and control. That's mind-blowing.
Right.
What the?
It's mind-blowing. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, I appreciate that, Victoria. Thank you.
You are very welcome. So I'm going to continue to watch you as I do daily. And everybody keep up with the silent prayer. Don't stop, don't stop. I mean it.
That's right.
You'll find the kingdom of heaven. I love you, bro. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Amazing. There's a line open, 888-7753-773. Jonathan is out of Nebraska. Jonathan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thanks, Jesse. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I had a question for you. I know that you said do the silent prayer, which I have been. I've been doing it every morning, every night. My question, though, is do you ever talk to God? Or do you just do the silent prayer?
What do you mean, talk to him?
Like you and I are talking now, when you're doing the silent prayer, is there ever a time where you say, you talk to him, like I'm talking to you? Or are you just always silent when it comes to being in front of the Lord?
Oh, I see what you're asking. If something comes up, I rarely do now, to be honest. But
yeah,
I mean, I neither try to do it or try not to do it. But I just mostly do the silent prayer and watch.
Because that's where I'm at, and then it's like when things come to mind, it's like when they try to come out of my mouth, they never come out right. Or they come out like the same thing every time, and it just sounds like a ritual, and I don't like that. So I also have been trying to just be quiet and silent and let the Lord speak how He wants to do.
It's Nick made the point. Don't you need to hear from a response to have a conversation? But no, it's because we don't know what to pray for. We don't know what to ask for. We don't know what we need. That's why it's best to it's right to just be still and know Him, because we don't know what we're asking for, and everything we ask for is all vanity.
Right. So to add on to that, it would be safe to say when we open our mouths and we ask, we're asking for us, but we're not. That's not necessarily aligning with what God wants us to be thinking about or concerned about. Is that correct?
Not at all. Right. Not at all.
Okay. All right. And then the next question is I called a couple maybe a month or so ago, but I'm dealing with some issues with my son, and he's 15. He basically left my house to go live with his mama because I refused to allow him to spend the night with his girlfriend, and he's trying to go live with his girlfriend, and I said, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. So then he packed his bags. I went and took my daughters to school because he basically told me I had to physically manhandle him, take him to school. So I said, okay, I'll be back to deal with you. I'm going to go take my daughters to school first. I got back to do that, and he was gone. His little mama came and picked him up. So my question is I know I want to pursue, but I know that I shouldn't pursue. How do I go about helping this young man right now? Or is the best thing to do is just sit back and wait, do nothing, and allow things to happen the way they should happen, and then let it naturally come back? Because right now he says he hates me. He doesn't want anything to do with me. I'm trying to control his life. And it's like, buddy, you need some help, man. And I've been there. I've been 15 before where I thought I knew everything and having sex with your girlfriend. And so he's just lost. He's just being a male, not quite trying to be a man yet, but just being a male. So how do I help my son?
When you say you want to pursue, what do you mean by that? Pursue what?
I want to pursue, but I want to call him. I want to text him. I want to pursue him. And the fact is, like, hey, I want to help you, buddy. But I
when
think
you say pursue, you mean you want to call him, you want to try to get him to come back home and all that?
Yes.
Oh. Do what you want, of course. The final decision is yours. But why not? He's 15. Why not just let him suffer?
That's where I'm at, and I just was asking. That's what I feel like I should do, anyways. But there's always that, you know what I'm saying. There's always that thought. We don't like the thought, not the practical ones, but the other thought. The other thought's always like, call him, text him, whatever. And I'm like, no, that's just stupid. Because if he wanted to have a relationship right now, we would have one. Because I'm not the one saying you need to leave, you need to do that. He's choosing to do those things. So I need to let him man up and own those choices. Those aren't my choices.
Well, those are not his choices either. He's angry at you. He's angry at his mother. And so he's been turned away from what is right. And he's living in darkness right now. And if he's 15, there's really nothing you can do because he's able to leave when he wants. So I would recommend, he already knows that he can be with you or not. I would just let him suffer. I would do what you want until he's ready to get over his hell.
Yep.
Have you apologized for not protecting him from his mother when he was younger?
Yes. Well, I've raised him. So that the thing is
he's
that
always
he had to go.
He's been raised by you and not his mother?
He's been raised by me, but the problem is that he goes to his mom every other weekend, and so that was the crux of it. He's like, and that's what he said when he left. He's like, well, my mom will let me do what I want to do. And I said, yeah, of course you will.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Were you at any time impatient with him and while growing
Absolutely.
up?
Absolutely, yes. I've apologized for my imperfections. I apologize because I wasn't the man that I needed to be.
Oh, okay.
I didn't show him the right way by living the right way, not by telling him, but by showing by example. I had to apologize because I wasn't always who I was today. I was in my lower state. I was trying to fix my own life and do my own things, and I realized that's going to play an effect too. So I have to go to him and I have to apologize because I wasn't the person that I should have been.
Well, if you have apologized and he has been living with her for a while, there's nothing you can do at 15. I would just let him suffer.
Okay.
You know, I would be, because the more you chase him, the more he's going to resist and the worse he will get. because he's going to rebel now. He's not going to. The spirit of the lie is going to cause him to rebel even more so. So just let him suffer.
Yep, that's agreed. That's what I'm going to do.
Amazing. Thank you, Jonathan.
Hey, Jesse, have a great day.
You too, buddy. Amazing. 888-7753-773. Super Chat.
Super Chats.
Harmony bought you a coffee. Female Mondays, more like Mama Spirit Mondays. Once a female starts to overcome the fallen state, she recognizes the attack on men and will help show the light to other women.
And I see it all the time when the ladies start to really pay attention to what's happening inside of them. They start to wake up. They see. And they start to change and fall into the natural order of life. And it's amazing to see it. That's why I'm encouraging women to seek first the kingdom of God in his right way. And all will be added. They got to do what the men do in order to overcome. They got to go forgive their mothers, forgive their fathers, be still, and know God. It's amazing. Thank you.
Someone bought a coffee. Jesse, what's worse for America, transgenders or the Kardashians?
It's the same. Thank you. It's the same. There's no difference.
Evgeny Crosby with a diamond. With a couple of diamonds. Jesse, Chris Crispy dropped out of the race, then got dropped off at Burger King.
Did you hear that Chris Crispy had dropped out?
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. He hates Donald Trump, it appears.
Indeed.
Nice. Thank you.
Danny Moore bought a coffee. Hi, Jesse and the lads. Have any of you seen a Chinese homeless person? I've been to a lot of places and never seen one. They yellow. P.S. Hake, you could fit perfectly in a Braveheart. You look more Scottish than Scottish. How's your Scottish accent? I don't know. I'll pick a pocket or two. That's not Scottish, huh?
That's a good question.
I think I have
seen
a Chinese homeless bum.
If I did, I just didn't pay attention. But I don't remember ever seeing one or the last time I've seen one.
Yeah. It's not as common, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Although they're a tiny minority, really.
Maybe if we went down into the Chinese community, maybe we'd see some Chinese
bums.
Yeah, on the street.
Yep.
Maybe. I haven't seen it. You're right about that. Thank you.
Rabbit bought 5 coffees. Good morning, Jesse and crew. Thank you for your hard work. I love the show, and you helped me to wake up. But let me ask. Where did you get saying ask like that from?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe from Hake.
No.
Where I got it from?
You got it from some lady, I think, who taught you to speak properly and not say ask.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She said that you're supposed to say ask, not ask. Not ask. Ask.
Axe.
You're supposed to hit the K.
Right.
Ask. Because blacks seem to leave out the K.
They say the K before the S. For some reason. You can't even say it wrong the way that the blacks say it.
I forgot how I used to say it. How does the black...
I'm not going to say it because you'll start saying it that way now.
Who?
You. Axe.
Who?
You. If I pronounce it wrong, you'll start pronouncing it wrong.
You sound like an owl. Who? It's
Axe.
They don't hit the K. The
yeah,
blacks
they do.
Don't say ask.
No, they say axe.
They say A-X-E.
Right, yep.
Why do the blacks say they, they lost their life rather than their lives?
I don't even know.
I hear that a
It's
lot.
stylish.
What?
It is stylish.
To say they life?
Yep.
How's that stylish?
I don't know. It just sounds stylish and catchy. You know how black people are stylish, entertaining?
They lost their life? That's not stylish.
I think it's stylish.
That's dumb.
It may be, but it's also kind of cool sounding. They make it sound cool to talk wrong.
Sean says left breath and left mouth movement.
Yeah, it's quicker. When I text more black or type in the chat because it's easier. You don't have. You can leave out extra words.
If I were you, I wouldn't be taking on the black way.
I know. Actually, the whole texting thing is becoming oversimplified.
I remember I used to really enjoy, even though I couldn't do it myself, hearing English spoken properly.
Right.
It was like music, like a nice music. But now I rarely hear English spoken properly. And when I do hear, it stands out.
That's true.
It's so rare. And America used to appreciate proper speaking.
Yep. Not anymore.
You remember those days?
And writing.
Huh?
And writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember those days.
Really? Wow.
It's always been degenerate, I think, in my life.
What a sad commentary, huh? Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Charles bought a coffee. Corinthians 14:34-35 clearly says women should keep silent in church. They are not permitted to speak.
Absolutely. 1 Timothy 2, I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over men. A woman was formed first. Adam was formed first. Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. Isn't that amazing? Thank you.
White Lion NYC bought, by the way, that was 1 Corinthians, that 14:34-35.
That I just read?
No, Charles is.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
Thank you, Charles.
White Lion NYC bought 3 coffees. I encourage everyone to read this historical figure, Albert Pike's plan for 3 world wars, on display in a museum. It explains much of recent history and what is to come.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He was in the Illuminati.
Where's the Illuminati now?
I don't know, but
rest my case.
He was also a Freemason.
What?
And he was a Confederate general too.
So Mason was free?
I don't know. The Freemasons.
Was it free?
Don't ask me. I don't know what it is.
You call it Freemason?
That's what they're called. It doesn't mean that I know what it is.
Oh, it doesn't mean membership is free.
I don't know. It might be. But I think they just mean they're free.
From
and
what?
they're Masons, as opposed to slave Masons. You're laughing at me. I'm trying to give you You interviewed a Freemason on the Fallen State.
I did.
Yep. Albert Pike was 6 feet tall and 300 pounds.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing. WD-41 donated...
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. White Lion NYC.
Yeah.
WD-41 with a Ninjagini. This is a contribution to help build Jesse's underground bunker.
That's right. I have discovered that they're not going to the moon, the whites. They're trying to. Look like they're not going out of space. They're going underground. So save your money, white people, and buy some land underground and then raise the rent. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you.
My close and personal friend Jib Jab bought a coffee. To add to Yo Lil's statement on following the order, it is said that the first law of heaven is order.
Yeah. It is. You got to follow the order. There's a spiritual order given to you by the Father. You can't break it and think you're going to have a life like you do with your earthly father. You break the rule, right? Turn against your father. But up there, inside and up there, there's a spiritual law. Either you follow it, be free, or you break the law and live enslaved. Amazing.
DJ bought 3 coffees. I work with pot, but when people ask, I tell them I work in agriculture. Laughing face emojis with cheers.
I don't blame you. Let me take a break. Amazing. I'll be back to your phone calls and finish your super chats as well. Back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, They're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Okay, welcome back. 888-773-773. Brand new episode of The Fallen State tomorrow, if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. I had an amazing conversation with Ray Daniels. Ray Daniels. And Ray is a hip-hop mogul, CEO, and host of a popular black podcast called The Gods Show, Gauds, The Gods Show. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
It sounds like you're rich.
I am.
Like a white man?
I'm rich like a black man. Biggest thing now is I don't want to lose it. That's my biggest nightmare.
What a mess.
But my father was my dog. Like, I love my dad.
So at one time you were a slut maker?
I think I was a slut king maker. What you said makes sense. It's just the delivery might piss off a couple people, but I understand it. Why do you call us the blacks? Aren't you black? What are you doing all the time?
Why do you call us the blacks? I wonder why when I ask what's wrong with the blacks, people think I don't know I'm black. I'm black. You can support the Fallen State at thefallenstate.com/donate or on locals.com. So click the link in the description to support our work. I enjoyed talking to him. It was an amazing conversation. So be sure to check it out. So it's thefallenstate.tv/donate. Fallenstate.tv/donate, not .com. All right? And also, for personalized shout-outs, weddings, congratulations, birthdays, anniversaries, go to Cameo, CAMEO.com/Jesse Lee Peterson for personal shout-out. The Hake Report coming up at 9 a.m. from 9 to 11. TheHakeReport.com. And then Joy of Friday TV. He's here Monday through Thursday now. You black. Joel Friday TV from 11 to 12. And then at 12 p.m. Pacific time, The American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. Let me go to James. It's Bible Thumping Thursday out of North Carolina. James, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Heard around the world.
By everybody and the mama.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, James.
I wanted to tackle the biblical question.
Do you have confidence?
Confidence?
Do you have confidence?
Confidence. Yes, I do.
And how do you know you do it? What is it?
Confidence is the faith and belief that I can be successful in certain areas in life. Not all, certain areas in life. That's confidence to me.
You have confidence that confidence is, you say, it's a belief that you can do what in life? I'm sorry.
That I could be successful in certain areas in life.
Oh, and
not all, certain areas.
Certain areas like what?
So if I, just an example, if I have been cooking the same dish for 20 years and I no longer need a recipe, I can just cook it. I've been cooking it for 20 years. If a family member asks me to make that dish for them, I'm confident that I can make that dish for them. So, that's just an example.
And that's what confidence is?
Yeah, it's a strong belief that you can conquer or handle a certain task. Confidence.
Amazing. I appreciate your response. Responding to that, James. I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. Thank you for that, buddy.
Thank you, Jeff. Now, listen, you talked about the woman being silent. I agree with that, remaining silent. I think you referenced 1 Timothy, right?
Yes.
So, 1 Timothy. So Paul was saying he doesn't permit women to teach.
I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over man. Yes,
I agree with that, but I also agree with the first verse in that chapter, because you made a statement, you made it quite often, but you made it a couple of minutes ago that we don't know what to pray for. So when you get a chance, look at the first verse of that chapter. It tells us exactly what we should be praying for.
And what does it say we should pray for?
It says to pray. He says, Paul says, I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made concerning all sorts of men, and this includes kings and those who are in high places, so that we may go on leading a calm and quiet life with complete godly devotion and seriousness.
Paul said that's what he prayed for?
No. He said, I urge that supplications, prayers be made to these kings and people in high places, so that we can continue to live a calm and quiet life with godly devotion and seriousness.
But that doesn't tell us what we should pray for.
Well, did you have a Bible? And read it. It says, this is what.
In Romans 8 said that we don't know what to pray for. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us. The Spirit intercedes in accordance with the will of God. So we don't know what to pray for.
Right. So we don't know, but who would know?
But it sounds like you were trying to say from that thing you just read that we do know what to pray for.
We don't know, but like Paul, he's given us instruction on how to pray, just like Jesus gave us instruction on how to pray. We don't know on our own, but God used these men to show us how to pray.
But that you read wasn't telling us how we ought to pray.
He's telling us how we should pray and who we should pray for.
All right. But
yeah.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, buddy. You have a good weekend. Talk to you soon.
You too now. 888-7753-773. That's the line open. Joseph, a first-time call out of Massachusetts. Joseph, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Jesse, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I reached out to you. I have a weird hate. I hate the negative black community in Boston because of where I grew up with the busing and where I live. And I'm trying to overcome that because I'm in the restaurant industry. And I'm trying to get over the hate for the negative black culture that is surrounding the city, that I have to live around it. I see it every day. I see the handouts that the city of Boston has given people. Just recently, Michelle Wu was only hiring black people for positions in City Hall. And I'm trying to overcome that. And how do you suggest I do that?
Are you black?
I'm white. I'm white, and I grew up in the era of busing and white flight. My parents never moved out, so I grew up in black schools with a negative culture that won, and I'm just so upset at that culture just because of the way I grew up.
Why didn't your parents move once they moved in? Why didn't your parents? They started the busing thing. Why didn't your parents take off?
My father's family and friends, he didn't want to move. And my father wasn't that involved with the family. He worked, he came home, he paid the bills and put food on the table. That was his job.
Oh, okay. The way you stop being angry at the blacks is that you get to know yourself, and you're going to see that something else is causing you to be angry. The thoughts, the feelings, and that the thoughts and the feelings are not you. And once you see that you can't help yourself but be angry because you're not in control, it will help you to understand that the blacks can't help themselves either. They have anger, and that anger is controlling them. And the so-called government and others are catering to the blacks because they want to use the blacks for personal gain. But the same spirit that is causing you to be angry, it's the same spirit that is causing the blacks to be angry and act the way that they're acting. It's not them, but it's the spirit of evil that made a home in them.
Interesting.
So you got...
Yeah.
You got to... I mean, once you overcome the anger within your own mind and emotion, you will understand what's going on with the blacks, and you will be able to become an example, the light. And some of the blacks want to overcome. They don't like living in the hell that they live in within themselves. They just don't know how to overcome it. They don't realize they hate their mothers and grandmothers. They're yearning for their fathers. And they don't know that they're being catered to. They're being used for destruction. But you'll be able to point that out in the right way if you overcome the anger within yourself first.
I try.
How do you try?
I think about it. I think, like I said, I'm in the restaurant industry. People will come in with unearned money and spend so much money, on money that some of these people that can't even speak proper English, but they have money because they sell drugs. And I hate having to go to that, to that table and to take care of them because I know it's not merited money.
You're in business to make money. Why are you caring where they get the money from?
I think it's just I'm worried about the society. I'm worried about my city and this continuing trend of the negative part. I don't hate black people. I don't like the negative black culture that is getting out of hand. It's out of control. And I'm sure you see it in Los Angeles.
Yeah, but there's nothing you can do about that except when you vote out these people like Wu and others that are using blacks for destruction. But I would recommend that you work on overcoming anger first because you're not going to see the right way to deal with issues of life until you start walking in the light. Your anger has you living in darkness.
Yeah.
Have you forgiven your mother?
Yes, I have, yeah. She passed away 20 years ago.
Did you tell her you have forgiven her?
I have not, no.
Why not?
Her spirit?
Why do you... Oh, she's dead? She died?
She's dead.
Oh, she's dead.
She died 20 years ago.
Did you forgive your mother for recreating her image? Because that spirit of anger that you have, it didn't come from the blacks. It came...
I was adopted when I was 2 months old.
Really?
Yeah, so my biological mother is addicted to meth in another state. And I don't really contact her that much. You know what I mean? So.
You know who she is, though?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about her?
I'm disappointed, but I understand her condition, being addicted to drugs.
Have you forgiven your father?
Biological?
You had an adopted father, right?
Yes.
Have you forgiven him?
Well, from your message last night that I got a messenger, I did talk to him, and I told him I forgave him.
And did you forgive your biological father for not being there for you?
if I have to say it out loud, yeah, I forgive him.
Is he dead too?
I'll never know who he is.
Oh, you don't know who he
My
is.
mother was a prostitute in Boston.
Oh, amazing. Here's what I recommend for you, Joseph, that you start looking at and forgive those blacks who you had to put up with the crap when you were being bussed around as well. When the busing thing started, that was a mess for a lot of white kids, and I know that was hard on you too.
I picked up a lot of bad traits. I picked up a lot of bad, and I can't. I try to shake it. You know what I mean? And I can't. It's really difficult.
Well, here's what you do. Because it's spiritual, there's nothing you can do about it. So I want to encourage you to start doing the silent prayer and watching the thoughts and the feeling. Let them pass. Go through them.
Yeah.
And God will take away your anger, and everything will start to make sense to you, and you'll be fine.
All right. I appreciate it. If I have any more questions, I'll give you a call.
All right, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Have a good day.
You're welcome. The anger that everybody feels is within themselves. And it's not because of somebody else, except that your mother recreated her image, turned you into her hell, and your father didn't protect you. But the anger, and yes, you deal with situations, but you were already angry. You were already angry. And the blacks have the same problem. They're angry. And the blacks have it really bad because no one is telling them that they need to forgive their mothers and grandmothers and return to the Father. They're telling them that it's somebody else or something else. And they're using the blacks. They give them a little free stuff, they got them hooked. And they can use them to destroy America. Remember Black Lives Matter? They nearly destroyed the country. And it was about themselves. It was never about helping the other blacks. All angry people are about self and no one else. 888-7753-773. Let me go to Juan out of Washington State. Juan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. How you doing?
All is well, sir.
Hey, so I called the other day. I was trying to get a hold of you because something happened to me the other day when I was doing the silent prayer.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to ask if it's something that's only happened to me or if it's something that I should, I don't know, be concerned about. So while I was doing the silent prayer the other day, I noticed that my body went in like automatic mode, like I had nothing to do with the breathing. And what's interesting is that Sunday after that happened to me, on the Sunday service, you mentioned that you will detach from your body. So I just found that interesting that you said that after that happened to me. I called and I spoke with Joel about it, but I wanted to see and get your perspectives from it.
And what do you mean your body detached from you? What detached?
Well, I'm not saying that my body detached from I detached from my body,
right.
But I just noticed while I was there, like in the nothingness, like in the blackness, like there was no thoughts, there was nothing happening, like there was, like I had already went through the war that you go through at the beginning, like when all the thoughts start coming back and forth, and then you get to that place where you just stay and there's no thoughts. Well, when I was in that place, I noticed my body that it was just breathing on its own, that I had nothing to do with it. And right there, as soon as I noticed that, I kind of, I'm pretty sure it was the enemy, but the thoughts started coming like a river, like just back and forth, and just, yeah. But I just wanted to get your perspective on it.
I think you're putting too much into it. Don't worry about that. You want to be detached from thoughts because the thoughts are your enemy. The thoughts hate God. And so if you had a moment of not being into thoughts, that's what you want. And so don't let the devil tell you that was something bad or good or evil, right or wrong. Just watch the thoughts and let yourself live. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't be trying to figure it out. You can't figure this out.
Yeah, I've noticed that. The more you try to figure it out, the more you notice that you don't know anything.
Yeah, because you've gone back into thoughts, and now you're trying to figure out what happened then and what happened now. The answers to life are not in thoughts.
I also wanted to ask you something. So I've been going through this situation at home to where my wife called. She called the cops on me the other day, and I was sleeping on the other bedroom for a while. And now she's turned around and then she's all lovey-dovey and she's all trying to make things work and all that stuff. And for some reason, I just don't buy it, and it just doesn't feel the same. Like I just feel like if I fall into that, I'm just gonna fall back into the hell and fall back into the manipulating and all that stuff. So I'm in a hard place right now because I'm thinking about moving out, but I just don't know how to go about it.
Your question for me is what?
Should I stay and see if she's really trying to change, if she's really trying to work on herself, or should I just move out?
Why did she call the cops on you?
Because she was arguing. We were arguing. Well, she was arguing. I was sitting on the couch and she was in the kitchen going off. And I was trying to talk to her, but she wouldn't let me get my point across. So I raised my voice, and then when I raised my voice, she freaked out, and she's like, she got all emotional, and she said, we're going to end this right here, and she called the cops on me, saying that she said that I attacked her. She told me personally that she didn't tell the cops that, but she told me personally that she felt attacked because I raised my voice.
And so you have kids with this woman?
I have 2 girls with her.
Oh. Why do you want to stay with her knowing now that you can't trust her that she would do that to you?
Because of the kids. I'm everything to my kids. And just, I don't want my girls to grow up with daddy issues.
But if their mother is that evil that she would call the cops and make up stuff on you like that, they're going to have daddy issues because she's going to turn your children away from you.
And that's what I've noticed too, that like the things, like the music that I like and the stuff that I like, she tries to make it seem like it's not godly, it's not biblical, and then like the kids see that and then they try to tell me like, oh, Dad, why are you listening to this or why are you listening to that? And she's like trying to get them all religious and stuff. And it's just...
Hold on a minute,
yeah.
Hold on. One more hour to go. Hake is coming to the hate news, not the fake news. I'll be back in a moment. One more hour to go. 888-77-JESSE. Back in a moment. Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. You know, freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters, it should be anyhow, to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free, just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world, is it not? This is the end of hour 2 already of Bible Thumper Thursday. JLP will be right back to your calls. Hang tight, callers. But first, Hake News, not fake news. There is one line open. You can call in right now during Hake News. After the Jesse Lee Peterson show, as you all know, I hope by now, the Hake Report. And then after that, Joel Friday TV, Monday through Thursday, 11 to 12 Pacific time. And of course, American Anchor Baby, okay? That's cool. Jews underrepresented in Hollywood? Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports that around 300 Hollywood figures signed an open letter to the Academy of Motion Arts and Sciences, the body behind the Academy Awards, demanding that they immediately add Jews to their inclusion and diversity standards. The upcoming 2024 Oscars are the first year that films are being submitted for the Best Picture will need to meet the Academy's new criteria for diversity and inclusion, designed to help better reflect underrepresented groups on screen. So add Jews to that. Nice. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America. Here's a quote. We are still seeing far too many firearms at TSA checkpoints. That's for the Transportation Security Administration Administrator, David Pekoski, announcing yesterday, that more than 6,700 guns were intercepted by U.S. airport security officers in 2023 before those weapons could make it on board airplanes. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. What a mess. That's from Commie Nonsense Network. I'll talk more about guns on the Hake Report, by the way, right after the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Tough climate, by the way. Large swaths of the United States are being hit by winter storms this week, including blizzards that have blanketed parts of the Midwest and the Northeast in snow. However, a new study shows that human-caused climate crisis, that thing that's going on supposedly, has significantly reduced snowpack in most parts of the northern hemisphere. Eat that, flat earthers, hemisphere, in the last 40 years, threatening water resources for millions of people. Data published Tuesday also confirmed 2023 to be the warmest year on record. An average global temperature of 14.98 degrees Celsius, whatever that is. Climate scientists, no such thing, maybe, have repeatedly warned about the critical climate threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius, when many ecosystems will struggle to adapt and summertime heat will approach the limits of human survivability in some places. What a mess. And Bitcoin, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, gave their approval Wednesday, according to Commie Nonsense Network. This ladies at the Skimmer reporting on this too, for some investment companies to offer spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. The move is expected to make investing in Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, more accessible to Main Street investors without requiring them to own the digital asset directly. SEC Chair Gary Gensler said in a statement that the agency remains wary about the volatility and myriad risks associated with Bitcoin and products whose value is tied to cryptocurrency. Bitcoin hit an all-time high of nearly $69,000 per Bitcoin in November 2021. It fell below $17,000 during crypto winter in 2022 and has been trading north, meaning above 45,000, in the run-up to the SEC's decision. Well, good job, guys. Surprise, it's Hunter Biden. Yesterday, the GOP-led House Oversight and Judiciary Committees pushed forward resolutions to hold Hunter in contempt of Congress. The update comes as the so-called president's son made a surprise appearance at an Oversight Committee hearing. Republicans had subpoenaed Hunter for a closed-door questioning back in December as part of their impeachment inquiry into his father, Crooked Joe. He defied it and said he'll only testify if it's public. Hunter faces criminal tax charges. At the hearing, Nancy Mace said Hunter, she's a Republican, is the epitome of white privilege. Don't do that, Nancy Mace. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 3.
got to stand up strong. Ain't the truth about themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. You can get involved. There's one line open at 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. JESSE. Jesse. Did you ask Sean? Oh, okay. Jesse, I'm talking to the office out there. My biblical question for this week. My biblical question. Do you have confidence? Do you have confidence? Amazing question. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. And you can also listen to the show live as it is happening. If you're too busy to sit and watch it live, you podcast later, of course. You can be listening on your iPhone or iPad by calling 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. Follow us on JLP Talk on X and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Do all the things you know to do, like, follow, ring the bell, and blah, blah, blah. Also, to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. Bond JLP Cash App. Bond JLP Cash App. And rebuildingtheman.com. It's Thursday. It's the last hour of the show for today. It is Bible Bumper Thursday.
See, my family, we're not like regular churchgoers, but I know places like this are supposed to help you feel better, and that's really what I need. I did something terrible, and now I just feel like there's something wrong with me. I mean, really wrong, deep inside. I can't shake it. What do I do?
Who authorized women to teach? Jesus. It's not just for ordained men.
Nothing will make you more like Jesus than having compassion for others.
Self-control is my ability to enter into those tears, my ability to embrace that emotion.
He literally became a human and felt everything that we did so he could relate to us.
It's a whole new world, baby.
Well, thanks. I feel much better. Bye.
That's right. What a mess. A mess. It's a mess. 888-7753-773. Thank you, Anchor Baby. I want to go quickly back to Juan out of Washington State. And he was, he's married, according to Juan, and his wife is tripping. She called the cops on him and all kinds of things like that. Juan.
Yes, sir.
And so you stay with her because of the kids, you say?
Yeah.
If you went away, would you be able to see your children?
Yeah.
And so if you can see your children without living there, why don't you do it that way?
It's more complicated than that because I know. Don't ask a black man if he remembers, but we had a counseling session a while back.
Amazing.
And there is some projects that I want to do in my country, and if she's not going along with that because she always finds a negative when I bring that up, and that's one of the main issues.
Why are you with a woman that will not obey you? She's called the cops on you. If she's done that, call the cops once.
Sorry, I was just dropping my kids off at school.
If she called the cops once, she's going to do it again. She's going to end up destroying your life. Why would you take that risk with a person like that?
Because I was a beta.
I mean, now. I'm talking about now.
Oh, now? First of all, my financial situation right now, it's pretty tough. Like, I don't have any extra money right now to kind of get a place and all that stuff. We have a house together, or not together. I mean, I bought the house when we first got married. But I've been thinking about just letting her keep the house and me moving out, and just so that my girls have a place to stay and they're not jumping from house to house. And I'll tell her that I'll keep paying the house until she's able to get it together and get a job and do her own thing. Because like you said, I'm done dealing with people that don't want to go along with what I'm trying to do.
Here's what I recommend for now, and then you will see what to do later. Don't argue with her ever. Let her argue by herself. And when she tries to be nice, don't fall for that either, because she's just trying to draw you back in order to control you or destroy you. Cut out the argument, sleep in a separate room, do the silent prayer, and just take it one day at a time. And I'm telling you, a way will be made clear that you can get out of that situation in the right way. Or maybe she would see that you're not putting up with the hell in her, and she might decide that she want to get better. I don't know. But you can't take a risk with her anymore now that she's called the cop. And if she get violent, or even with words or physical violence, call the cop on her and have her arrested.
Yeah, and I think because we were sleeping in separate rooms, like after she called the cops, I wasn't sleeping with her. Like I started sleeping in a different room. And about 3 weeks ago, she came and started, being all peaceful and stuff, and like, oh, come back to the room. This is not a good image for the kids. And I told her, I was like, so are you worried about the image or about the real issue? Like, because the image is not the issue. And she's like, she convinced me to go back to the room.
Are you serious?
But she did, man. She convinced me to go back to the room, but it's not the same.
You deserve what you get. You keep listening to the devil, he's going to destroy you.
I know. Oh, crap. Yeah. I went back. But the thing is, it doesn't feel the same. Like, I don't feel... it just feels off. It doesn't feel like it should. I feel like if I keep caving into her, I'm just going to go back to lying and back to manipulating and back to the whole being in hell. And I don't want that, and I'm not going back to that.
But you are going back. You already went back to the bed.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, crap. So now I'm just digging a deeper hole.
One thing in life, you don't want to go back to hell. You want to overcome hell, because when you go back to hell in your mind and inside of others, you're going to only get worse. It's going to be worse for you. And all she's doing is playing an evil game on you.
So would it be wrong for me to do that, to tell her to keep the house and I'll keep paying the house until she's able to get her feet together and pay it on her own?
Yes, because you know what? If anybody should leave, it should be her, not you. It's your house. You're the head of your wife. You shouldn't let her run you out of your own house.
Yeah, but I don't want to deal with the drama. Like, I'd rather have her keep the house so that my kids have a place to stay. You know what I mean?
But you don't have to deal with the drama. You can live right in that house and not deal with the drama. Don't argue with her. Don't try to prove anything to her. You just stay, do the silent prayer, go to work, and just live your life.
Just continue with the things that I want to do.
Yeah, but if you feel like, now, because it's your life, I'm not living your life, I'm not there. If you believe that you really need to move and get out of there, then you do that.
I do, because I see that every time that she puts a face and she's like acting all lovey-dovey, it's just a matter of one thing that I do wrong for her to freaking just flip the switch and go back to arguing, trying to argue and all that stuff. So I see no peace in that, and me staying would be me keeping her in her hell and me keeping myself in her hell.
But you're not keeping her in her hell. She's keeping herself in her hell. You're not responsible for her hell. She is. She was already like that when you met her. And they play games like that. If they can't control you by being nice, then they'll control you by being mean. And if that doesn't work, they'll control you by being nice. But both ways are evil, and she's just trying to draw you back into her hell.
So it'll just be a back and forth.
Yeah. Her heart hasn't changed. She's the same devil. A nice devil is the same as the mean devil.
And there's been things that I've seen too that are kind of off lately. Like, for example, there's this little flag that we have on the car that she drives. And the other day, it wasn't on the rear view mirror where it usually is. It was on the floor. And I asked her about it. I was like, "Whoa, who took this down?" And the answer like, you can tell when somebody's lying. And the answer she gave me was totally a lie. And I didn't want to argue or anything. I was just like, "Oh, okay." But I know she was lying. I know she either was at a place where she didn't want the car to be identified, or she was either following me around trying to see where I'm at and doesn't want the car to be identified. But yeah, it's little things like that I've been noticing, and it's like, yeah, I can't trust her.
Here's what I recommend. Do what you want. I would stay with the prayer and watch. I would definitely sleep in a separate room. Cut out the argument with her. Don't argue at all. And you'll see what to do. And you'll see the next step to take. If you need to move out, move out. If you're able to stay and she leave, let her leave. But you will see what to do since you don't know yet exactly what to do.
Okay.
But you gotta.
I'll do that.
She can't be trusted. If she called the police on you, she's gonna do it again, and she will lie and try to destroy your life.
Yeah, and that's one thing that was revealed to me and see, Jesse, sometimes when we don't listen to the light, we mess up, because when the day that she called the cops on me, like right after the cops left and she went to work and I stayed at home, I did the silent prayer, and it was shown to me to not do anything about it, to not say anything about it, and to not mention it to anybody or anything, and just stay relaxed in it and let it go. But I went yapping to people, and yeah, it just made a whole bigger mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Warren, you got you got to work on yourself right now and forget about her. Work on you, do the prayer, and watch what's going on inside of you. Practice staying present so that the light, the truth can guide you in this mess that you're in right now. And don't be a part of her hell. Let her be in her own hell.
Okay.
And you will see the right way to go. So just relax and don't argue. And if she try to argue with you or anything, then you call the cops on her and have her arrested and throw away the key and just continue to work on you.
Okay. I'll go ahead and do that.
But for now, as far as moving, if you think it's best to move, you do it. But I don't know. I'm not in that situation, so I don't know. But you do what you see is best for you.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate it.
I wish you well, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all you do. And the guys there at Bond, I really appreciate what you guys do.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, thank you.
All right, buddy. Amazing.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. Speaking of 888-775-3773, I want to just show you quickly why women cannot lead. It's not in them. It's just not there, right? And that the hell comes through the woman. And unless she's like seeking the kingdom of God in his right way, forgiving her mother, forgiving her father, and now she's returning to the Father, she needs the light of the man to guide her. Because when the light is not guiding her, she can't see the right way to go. She's listening to her father, the devil, and she can't help it. And the only thing that's going to ever come out of her is hell. And everyone catches it unless you see what's going on. There are women who are changing. I work with them all the time. They must put first the kingdom, seeking the kingdom, overcoming hell, right? I want to give you 2 quick examples of why women are incapable of leading. It's just not the nature. This is from the Guardians. The women who meet to scream into the night. The women who meet to scream into the night. Screaming group, SCREAM. Screaming groups are formed across the world where women gather in parks and public places to release their frustration. Watch this from the Daily Beast.
Yep, the saying, "I'm so mad I could scream," is being put to test by a group of moms in Boston. Recently, they took to a field to release their anger by screaming. The event was put together by therapist Sarah Harmon. Why are they upset? And tell us more about why you're doing this.
Well, if you're a mom listening, you don't need any explanation, but you know. I mean, in the pandemic, the first one was, how do we keep our kids safe? How do we navigate these changing regulations and decision-making? And then did we make the right decision after we've already made the decision? Navigating being under the same roof with your partner and your kids for way more hours than you ever signed up for. And anger is a very taboo emotion. You know, when we express anger, we're seen as crazy or overreactive.
You are crazy. You are overreacting and you're crazy. Anyone that has anger is crazy, but that's crazy. See, these women need men to show them how to overcome their hell. I guess that woman's supposed to be some kind of expert. She's telling the women to go out and scream in the night, and they're doing it. That ain't solving nothing. They got to overcome the hell that's in them. They got to return to the true father, not the fake father, the devil. Men, they can't handle anything. Can you imagine? Just think about that. They think going out screaming in the night is helping the problem because they're lost. They cannot see. Women need men. Women need, and if they don't have a man, especially one that can lead them, because most men think like women nowadays. So it's hard for the woman. Seek the kingdom of God, ladies. This is not the answer. Screaming is not the answer. Being still is the answer. They're doing opposite of the silent prayer. Be still, not go screaming. You're worshiping your daddy, the devil, when you do that. Isn't that amazing? And I've told you that there is no difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The Republican Party now has a bunch of women in it, females in it, running the party, in the party, so-called representatives. They think just like the liberal females. They act like the liberal females, and it's bad and it's dangerous. I'm not saying this because I just don't have anything. I'm telling you to point you back to the right way. We must come back to the order of life. God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman. It's Bible Thumper Thursday. The way you're going, you think hell is on earth, and it is, but it's working through people. The human heart is evil. I want to show you, there's this woman that Hake mentioned it in the Hake News by the name of Nancy Mace. And she's a Congress female, supposed to be Republican, conservative. But her mindset is no different than the Democrats. She's on an ego trip, and she's no different than the Democrats. No different. And she also believes in white privilege. And she's white. And for some reason, women think that men are afraid of them. Why you don't want to talk to me? Because I'm a woman. Women are supposed to talk. It's the same mentality as the Democrats because it's the same hell. Just because she has the name Republican behind it doesn't mean a thing. She still thinks like a liberal. This is from The Hill. Hunter Biden made a surprise appearance at the House Oversight and Accountability Committee on Wednesday before the panel was set to approve a resolution to hold him in contempt of Congress. Representative Nancy Mace, criticizing the surprise appearance, asked who bribed Hunter Biden to be here. Watch this from Fox.
Hunter Biden is on Capitol Hill, and so far as I know, Dana, this was not planned. He shows up on the Hill and goes to the Senate side of the Capitol, delivers a statement, and walks away, and that really ticked off a lot of people.
Mr. Chairman, don't we have House rules and committee rules regarding subpoenas and then rules about having hearings?
You are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me? It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all.
What a bitch. That's a real bitch. White privilege. What you white privilege? I'm not allowed to speak because I'm a woman. I'm not allowed to speak. That's a bitch in our government. Isn't that amazing? A white woman talking about white privilege. Hunter Biden may be on a trip because his father is the president, but white privilege ain't the problem. What a bitch. How would you like to be married to that one? She in government on an ego trip. Republican Party, you can't do any better than this? This female, Nancy Mace, should not be representing the Republican Party. The Republican Party, when I became a Republican voter, the Republican Party was better than this. It's gone now. You put in all these females in there, look what's happening. White privilege. She's saying what the blacks are saying. She's on the side of the blacks. She's on the wrong side. Whatever happened to the calm, logical people in politics? These people in politics today are like wild, uncontrolled, untamed, unprofessional human beings. They're clowns, the men and the women. I want to just play that one more time so you can see how evil and out of control Nancy Mace is. And whomever voted for this woman, you deserve what you get in your town. This woman is evil. And she's adding to the problem. White privilege. Where'd she get that from? And she white. We have a bunch of bitches running our government. On both sides. Let's play that again from Fox.
Biden is on Capitol Hill, and so far as I know, Dana, this was not planned. He shows up on the Hill and goes to the Senate side of the Capitol, delivers a statement, and walks away, and that really ticked off a lot of people.
Mr. Chairman, don't we have House rules and committee rules regarding subpoenas and then rules about having hearings?
You are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me? It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all.
And you're not his mama. What a bitch. She like, you don't have no balls. Why would a congressperson be speaking that way? When did the government get out of control that now they speak that way? And where's the professionalism in that and respect? You have no balls? White privilege? Are women allowed to speak? All manipulation, all evil. Come on, man! And she calls herself a Republican. She's a Democrat. The Democrat females and the Republican females are the same. Because she has no love. She's no different than the screaming groups that's going around now. What do we want? All that mess. You will regret. She's no different than those women out there screaming because they don't know how to deal with life. Remember the screaming group? It's Nancy Mace and the Republican women are no different than that. My country is not coming back. You put the devil in charge of the country. There's no love. These people have no love. Women have no love. They only have anger, which is hatred. That's why they have to go scream. They're screaming to the devil. The treasure chest is now open on D-Live. I got to take a quick break. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. 888-77-53773. Back in a moment. Check out my book, For Race to Responsibility. I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother, who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone, and you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. That so-called Representative Nancy Mace, so-called Republican, is an evil, nasty, dirty, mean woman. Mean female. She should not be in our government. Anyway, brand new episode of The Fallen State tomorrow at 12 Pacific time. I had a fun and interesting discussion with Ray Daniels. And Ray is a hip-hop mogul, CEO, and the host of a popular black podcast called The God Show. Watch this.
Next time on The Fallen State.
It sounds like you're rich.
I am.
Like a white man?
I'm rich like a black man. Biggest thing now is I don't want to lose it. That's my biggest nightmare.
What a mess.
But my father was my dog. Like, I love my dad.
So at one time you were a slut maker?
I think I was a slut king maker. What you said makes sense. It's just the delivery might piss off a couple people, but I understand it. Why do you call us the blacks? Aren't you black? What are you...
Amazing. Tomorrow at 12 noon, a brand new episode. I thought you're going to like it. I did. You can support the Father State on the fatherstate.tv/donate or locals.com. Locals.com. Just click on the link in the description there, all right? Amazing discussion with him. Really. The Hake Report is coming up at the top of this hour. TheHakeReport.com from 9 to 11. And at 11, the Joel Friday TV. Joel Friday TV. From 11 to 12. Monday through Thursday now. E-Blood. And then at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. At 12 noon, Pacific time. On fire with energy given to him by God. Amazing. Let me go back to the busy phones, and then we're going to get to your super chats and all the good things. Ashley out of Nevada has been waiting for a minute. Ashley, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate you taking my call.
Yes, sir.
So I just started this job. Well, this is the reason why I called, but maybe I could start with asking you a biblical question about like having a reprobated mind. Like, what does it mean to like? What do they mean in the Bible when they say like, oh, you have a reprobated mind, like you're under a reprobated mind?
To worship the devil, your mind, your thoughts are evil, and your thoughts are all ego because they are the nature of the devil. And your thoughts, which is imagination, intellect, and the intellect hate God and hate him.
But then, like, what is there coming back from that? Because
yes,
Christians make it sound so permanent, like, you know, like, oh, you're just like you're under a reprobated mind, and that's just it, and you can just over to the side somewhere and forget about you.
Pay no attention to what the Christians are saying. They're lost. They're living in a reprobate mind as well. But what you do is, now that you see that you have it, you start doing the silent prayer so God can bring you out of the thought. You're one with the thoughts, and you are identifying with them, the so-called good one and the bad one. You think that is you creating thoughts. You think it's you creating feelings. You think that they are you. You have identified with them. But now, if you become aware of them, you would disidentify with them, and the Father, the truth, would take them away from you.
Yeah, I've been listening to you for a while.
Yes.
And I noticed that it takes me a minute. I take a minute to like wrap my head around things and like fully understand things.
Right.
And so like, just like the simple thing of you saying like all thoughts are all lies. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be so emotional. I can't help it.
No problem. Just let it happen. So, you're not in control.
Right. So the thing about like all thoughts being all lies, really saved my life, because like I've always thought about suicide and been suicidal, and like it got to a point where like and it was here recently, like I just couldn't take it, and I just I reminded myself like what you said, like all thoughts are all lies all the time.
How old are you?
I'm sorry?
How old are you?
I just turned 43.
Okay.
And I've been like, it's been a journey, because like since like I was 18, like I just been like, I took off and like I've been running away from myself. Like when I was a young teenager, like I was really influenced by, my older brothers. And one of my older brothers is like a drag queen. And like being around him and, his friends, they influenced me at a young age, telling me like, oh, because I was very timid and very feminine. And you helped me wrap my head around it, because I was... I was that way because my mom, like, she had 3 boys, and she was basically a single mother, and, like, she got into a relationship with this woman, and, like, I basically grew up with 2 mothers, and, like, they just felt like they needed to dominate the boys and, like, be in control, like you say, And I was very feminine, and I was very insecure and very unsure of myself. And I had all these people telling me, oh, what a pretty girl I would be, and, how I would be so fierce, and just like how my life would be like that. Like I allowed the devil to convince me that was what was tripping me out. Like, because I didn't know like why I was so different, like why I wasn't into what the boys were into. Why was I into what the girls were into? Like, what was wrong with me? So when I tell you, like, when I turned 18, like, my mom, she let me, do what I wanted to do, because I made it a big thing. I wrote her this long letter and telling her, I felt at the time like I would kill myself. It's either I would be a girl or I would kill myself. And so, like, from 18 to 43 is like a long time. A long time to be like taking the hormones, and what comes with the hormones is anxiety medication, depression medication, and other psychotic medications to help you, manage the fact that you feel like you're something else when you are what you are, and you can't get away from who you are and what you are, and what you are is okay. And it's like I never heard like men talking up and making it sound so good and so great to be masculine and to be manly and to be a man. Like, I don't know why my environment was just so bombarded with the women is, you know, like the women power, and like just the whole idea of like men having to like be slaves to women. Like, I didn't want to be a slave to a woman. I didn't want to be like a workhorse and whipped. Like, I don't know, like, oh God. But I know like after the pandemic, because I worked in a hospital setting at the time, and I had I was overwhelmed one day coming into work because I had been struggling because things had been so different because of the pandemic, and I just couldn't take everything that was going on. And plus, I was dealing with my own stuff with identifying as transgender and trying to live this life, whatever. So, like, I stopped everything. I stopped taking all the medications and stuff and the hormones and stuff. And so it's been a journey from, like, 2021. And so, like, I've just really been trying to stand up as best as I can, you know, just, like, being who I am. Like, I didn't have, like, any massive surgeries, you know, like you say, like, you know, putting on women body parts onto men and stuff. Like, I didn't do any of that, and I'm glad that I wasn't able to, because I definitely tried. To. And it was either me not being financially able to do it at the time, or, you know, being here lately, the insurance is covering a lot of things. I had a difficult time getting approvals for stuff, and so I'm glad that it didn't happen, because I just want to be myself, you know?
Yeah. And your question for me is what?
So I say all that to say, like, I just got this job, and I'm like, there's two managers are women and one is a guy. I only have been in contact with one of the women managers. And so the other woman who's a manager, she texted me yesterday on my day off. That was my first day off. And on my phone, like, when I don't recognize the number, it goes into, like, this private area, and it doesn't really, like, I didn't get her text message until this morning. And so I just want to be apologetic about it and say, you know, I'm sorry I missed your text. But I'm being advised by someone who I respect, and he's telling me that I should say, you know, I'm terribly sorry, and just be so apologetic. And I'm like, I don't want to be groveling at her feet. Like, I honestly, I apologize. I didn't get the text message, and trying to let that be it.
Hey, you're right about that. That's all you have to say. You're right. Don't be licking boots like that. You apologize. You didn't get the message, and you apologize for it. Just simple as that. You don't have to go beyond that.
Now, should I do that by text message like this morning, or should I wait until I come in on my shift today?
Since you got the message, you can call her or text her and say, "Oh, apologize. I didn't see your message till now," and just leave it alone. But let me tell you this. I want you to know I promise you this, without a doubt or anything. You're not a transgender. You're none of those things that the thoughts are telling you. The suicidal thoughts are not from you. You are none of those things. We are all possessed with evil spirits in our mind and emotions until we return to the Father, until we realize within ourselves that we are wrong. And you're going to start to see that you are not your thoughts. You actually have never made up a suicidal thought. You have never created a feeling. You're none of those things. You're possessed with evil because when your mother turned you away from your father and caused you to become angry, the spirit in her, which is evil, recreated you in her image. And the reason she's a lesbian because she resents her mother as well. It's this anger. It's a
Jesse, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but you know what she says about the relationship? She says that she was only in the relationship because she wanted to take us out of the project. And so she did it. She did it for us.
And that's
but
another
she was
lie.
Never a lesbian.
But still, the devil set her up to do that. She was influenced to make the wrong decision like that. That decision was made by evil. It wasn't even her decision. Just as when those thoughts tell you to kill yourself or commit suicide, whatever, it's the same spirit that told her that. Oh, you pretend to be a lesbian so you can get out the project. There's a better way to get out of the projects. That's not the right way. But I want you to start working on yourself, and it sounds like you are already, but stop identifying with the intellect. Stop identifying with thoughts and feelings. That's in the mind and in the physical body, but it's not who you are at all. You don't know who you are yet. The real Ashley have never done anything wrong. You're not a sinner nor a saint. You're not angry or whatever. It's not you. The anger is not you. You're not your emotions. You're none of those things. So you got to stop calling them you and don't identify with them. You're not a transgender or any of those things. That is the false spirit that made a home inside of you. That is the spirit that God said that we must die from. And the only way you're going to die from them, you got to stop identifying with them. Don't call them you. It's not you.
All right.
It's not, God is not judging you at all because he knows it came from that spirit of anger, evil, enter into your mind when you resented your mother. When you became angry as a kid, it opened your mind up for the spirit of evil to enter in, and it has been controlling you ever since. Because you thought it was you. You think it's you, and it's not. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. You don't even know who you are yet, but once this false identity dies, the real you will appear, and the real you you're already free. You have perfect peace. You are created in the image of God. You have never done anything wrong because Christ came and he took away all our sins. So you have never even sinned. The only thing you're doing is believing the lie in the thoughts. And then you have people around you approving or agreeing with the lie that's in you because they're controlled by the lie that's within themselves. So don't call yourself those things anymore.
Okay, and another thing, like, I guess it's like one thing at a time with me, because even at work, like, my boss says she, like, refers to me as she because it's like it's on my ID and everything, and that's how I've identified for so long.
Right.
And
well, just tell her I'm not a she. You can refer to me as a he now. Just say it. Just say, well, I'm a he. Don't call me a she.
yeah,
Have you forgiven your mother?
that's been a really big thing, and I'm right here with her. I haven't.
Meaning that you
I think
live
about
with
it.
her?
I think about it every day. Yeah.
You live with your mother?
We are right now. Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I highly recommend. You forgive her. She couldn't help herself. It was done to her by her mother. And the spirit of evil lives in her. And so she couldn't help herself. Just as you can't help yourself, the same thoughts and feelings you get, she get them too. So she can't help herself. And realizing that you could not help yourself would cause you to realize she can't help herself. And you go and apologize to her for resenting her and forgive your father for not protecting you from her. He didn't know how to deal with it either because his mother is in him as well.
And that's so deep when I heard you say that for the first time, and I'm like, that's so true.
Yeah.
I needed my father to protect me from my mom.
Yes. Do you know where your father is?
Yeah, I do.
Well, contact your father and forgive him. Ask him why didn't he protect you from her. And you're going to see he couldn't help it. He loved you. And when he left her. He didn't leave you. He loved you.
It would be easy to just call him and tell him that, but it's kind of difficult to get to him because he's like 6 hours away.
Well, if you can't FaceTime with him and you can't get him, call him and talk to him.
Okay. All right.
Are you doing the silent prayer?
Every morning, every night? No.
Do it every morning, every night. Start seriously working on you so you can overcome all false identities.
You know, I look at your crew and, like, you know, and especially you, Jesse, like, you're just like this steady ship that's in the night that's just constantly just moving forward. And, you know, regardless of, like, how the wind may blow or the waves may move, you know, you're somehow heavily anchored in the water and you're moving along. And it's amazing to see an example.
Well, that same spirit that is driving me is in you too.
I really do. I really do.
It's in you too. It's totally in you, but you got to watch the not you. You're not your thoughts. You're not your feelings. You're none of these things that the thoughts are telling you. You're neither good or bad, right or wrong. So God said in order for us to live, we must die. What you must die from is all these false identities you have taken on in your life because you didn't know then. Now you're starting to know. And as those things are dying, the real you will start to live. You will live. You will have an amazing life because you're allowing the Spirit of God to come in and take control. And your life is already laid out. And you just live your life. And people would come after you. They would try to hurt you. They were jealous and envy and whatever. And the devil would try to tempt you in your head, but that would change. He will have to depart from you. But you got to do the silent prayer morning and night. And during the day, bring your mind back to your body so you don't be thinking about the past or the future, which doesn't exist. Just work on you, man, and you're going to have an amazing life. God is not holding this thing against you. He's never punished you. He has made you free. The real you are free. The false you is what you've been identifying with.
All right.
And so as far as your boss, hey, boss, I didn't get your message. I apologize. And then with your mother, forgive her. Don't have any expectation from her. She apologized fine, she's not fine. And then eventually you'll be able to move out on your own.
All right, and I'm going to definitely call you back and give some advice about the proper way of doing that.
Absolutely. And stop calling yourself a transgender. You're not a she, you're a he. And be okay with coming back to your natural self. You'll be fine, all right?
All right. All right, thank you.
All right, man. Let me know how it goes, but do the silent prayer so you can come out of thoughts. You can see them rather than being in them.
Yeah, I do observe. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, but I wish you well. Call me back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Amazing. Where's Hake? I need Hake to come in for the super chat. Let me go to Ray out of Michigan while Hake is coming in. Ray, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. How you doing?
All is well, Ray.
Awesome. Well, first I wanted to answer the biblical question.
Do you have confidence?
I don't think so. I think it's well, I think when I thought I had confidence, then it helped me. But I noticed that it comes and goes, so it can be really real if it comes and goes. I'm sorry, did that answer the question? I don't know if that did.
Yes, it did. Thank you for responding.
And then I wanted to Oh, no problem. And then I wanted to ask you a question about my idea of God. And, like, so I love God so much, and I think about God all the time. And because he's always blessing me. I'm noticing all the blessings that are coming in my life.
Ray, do me a favor, because we're going to be cut off here in a minute. Can you call me the first thing tomorrow, and I'll take your call as soon as you call in?
Yeah.
So remind the screener you call in and you want to ask me about God, all right?
Okay. I'll do that.
Thank you. I am so out of time. Super Chat, I really wanted to get to them. We will do that the first thing tomorrow morning. I'm telling you all, do what you want. And I realize most people love their hell. They're going to stay there. You are not your identities. Stop claiming them. You're justified by your words, or you're condemned by them. Die from them, not live in them. Believing in them, all right? Die from them. Get on that straight and narrow. Stay there. Go through the fire. And on the other side of the fire is paradise. It's heaven right here on earth. The Hake Report is coming up now. I am out of time. John, the first time call out of Miami, Florida. Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. Derek out of Georgia on my mind. And the caller just dropped. I'm out of time. Tomorrow's Open Line Friday. Bye, y'all.
Look, stand up. We got fighting to do. We gotta show them who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never want to stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understanding to lose? You better go talk to your mama. Better stop with the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up and up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if we don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church.
Like my cousin, sent me you, and I thank him for that. It was more of a, he thinks the whole everything's a joke. That just adds a little spice to it. But in the heart of what you're saying, there is real things going on. And people want to overlook that. And I'm telling you, Mr. Peterson, I'm not one of those people. And I thank God that, he showed you to me, and sometimes we just need some Jesse in our lives, I guess.
I wish we had more brothers like you. We need more brothers like you. Because we don't have more
most guys that can, you know what I'm saying, lead black people into the right direction. And I thank you for that, because a lot of people will be like, man, it's still going on. It's racism. Yeah. And I try to tell them, like, watch his show. Listen to this brother. He's telling the truth.
Take no thought about tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't exist. And you're going to see, man, God is with us and all is well.